How is everyone doing tonight? Forgotten to get the live chat pinned, ready to go, but I had 30 seconds in my intro to get that done. So, really handy intro there. Appreciate you again, HiveMind. Feel free to reach out to him if you would like to get some stream assets or branding things made. How's everyone doing tonight? As I always do on these, I plan on just hanging out for the next couple hours. I'm here, Q&A. I don't have that much of a rant built up. I did the thing that you do in the thumbnail. You got to go one way or the other. You got to go green lines and rocket emojis, or red lights, warning signs, up or down. No fence riding. The thumbnail has to have a theme, and it has to either be we're making money or we're risking losing money. You need something dramatic. So there's a lot of red out there. Let me just, I talked about stocks, crypto. I do shout out to the Pokenomics Patreon every week. I used to do Wednesdays between 3 and 4 p.m. Eastern, but now I do 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday. I'm in office hours for 1 hour a week. Jake also does. I believe he does Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern. And I've had a couple people reaching out asking like, hey Dan, what do you think? Bitcoin's down 20%. No sense just talking about it. I've got the wrong that was part of one of my notes things. Cryptocurrency charts. Way zoomed in. What do we got going on here? This is way zoomed in. Holy moly. I don't know if there's a quick way. We're gonna do it this way. We're gonna make it through it. I promise you, we'll make it through it together. Coin market cap is what I'm attempting to show you right now, and really struggling. But yeah, coin market cap. Got it cropped and everything. Bitcoin is down 7.42% in the past 7 days. Ethereum is down 15%. I'm not going to scroll down through all the various altcoins saying the nice term for them. But yeah, let's look up SP 500. SP 500 is up 0.5% today. And year to date, it is down 4.5%. Over the past month, though, it's down a little bit over 7%. I think like Tesla's getting like really walloped right now. Up 7.5% today, though, and up another 2% after hours. But year to date is really bloody. There might be other things going on with respect to that one, but we won't touch those. But yeah, I feel like I'm sensing a little bit of, oh, if I don't turn off the fisherman intro, it comes back on every time I switch between scenes. But I've definitely felt a little bit of like, oh, usually Pokemon and crypto are loosely correlated. Maybe not. I've not actually looked into the data on that, but it sounds right. It feels right. Crypto go up, Pokemon go up, market go up. Like they all move together to some extent. If we go through a worldwide, like a global recession, Pokemon will certainly be affected if people start getting laid off, if the economy starts shrinking. Do I actually think that's going to happen? I have no clue whatsoever, but it could happen. Kind of like the typical Dan thing that he always says. You need to hope for the best, prepare for the worst, whatever other cliche saying you want to go with. But I don't use leverage. I don't use debt to buy my inventory. I use short-term debt. I use credit cards to buy it when I have the capital to pay it off already in full. So my risk is not very high. I have a lot of money in this stuff, and if it goes down 20, 30, 40%, not going to feel good. But I'm going to not lose my house. The lights aren't going to turn off. I'll be able to feed my children still. And yeah, one little note I have, which I think you might have saw part of my notes. I had the wrong notes up, so maybe you saw part of the wrong notes. But the market doesn't like uncertainty, and I think that's what's going on in the stock market, the cryptocurrency market. And we haven't really seen it or felt it much in Pokemon, I don't think. I think certain cards, like the obligatory, the one I have to show off all the time, certain alt arts, certain PSA 10, like certain modern cards have been kind of like losing a little bit of steam lately. I don't think that has to do with like the market uncertainties. I think that just has to do with some cards were getting a little bit crazy and they're just cooling their jets a little bit. Maybe they'll pick up steam from there. Maybe they'll go down from there. But you genuinely never know. In hindsight, it's always easy to say, shoulda, coulda, woulda. This went up, so I mean, I was there. I could have bought this for that price. There's always going to be that. If you could see a year ahead, forget a year. If you could see a week ahead, if you could see what happens over the next 7 days, you could become a billionaire starting with $1,000, trading in and out at the perfect times, multiple times a day, in and out of the right stocks, cryptocurrencies, whatever. You could easily 1 million times your money. At scale, like in Pokemon, you can't do that because there's only so much money you can fit into it. But like in the multi-trillion-dollar markets that are stocks and crypto and things of that nature, it's just not worthwhile to say, oh man, I wish I did XYZ. So make the best decisions you can with the information you have today, and don't beat yourself up over decisions that don't pan out the way that you thought they would or wish they could have. And try to learn from them where possible, but sometimes the answer is there doesn't really need to be a logical explanation for certain things, and sometimes it just it is what it is. Sometimes people try to like really delve down too deep into like, why did this happen? It doesn't matter. It can't be known. And even if you did find out exactly why, like how much of the pandemic bubble boom was Logan Paul, and how much was the stimulus checks, and how much was like people really find a need to try to like, this happened, what caused it? I want to be able to sense when the next one's going to happen. I understand the curiosity. I understand the desire to find all that, but don't get like too lost in it. I've made videos before. Don't get lost in the noise, analysis paralysis, things like that. And those things all definitely still apply. But yeah, I didn't really have much of a rant scheduled for today. 8 minutes in, and I'm turning to the live chat. I'm going to plan to keep up with all the questions, as I always do. We'll see how many people we end up getting in here tonight. If it ends up being a couple hundred, it might be a few hour stream. If it ends up being 40 or 50 like it used to be a year ago, it might be an hour and a half stream. We'll see where the night takes us. Leave your questions in chat, and I will answer all of them. Mr. Ponga, where did I just put my highlight chat? Sorry, I am lost here. Where did I put? I need to okay, here we go. I guess I need to re-pop out my chat. I don't know what this is doing. I think I need to get the overlay. Sorry, I am almost ready to go. I did this a minute ago, and then I lost the chat, so I had to reconfigure my chat highlight. 0 by ... So I did visit Mr. Ponga and Mr. Old School Pokemon and Mr. Vandy Flips Pokemon, and somehow through multiple IPAs, we ate lunch, we walked around Chicago, we got beer after beer after beer at bar after bar after bar, and by the end of the night, somehow we came up with like, by we I think I mean me. Anytime I talk too long with Jake, with anybody deep into the hobby, anytime I talk too long and we start questioning like, where does all this money come from? What's going on? It's always like, it's all gonna end tomorrow. It's all going to 0. So 0 by fall, sell it all. That was what I came up with somehow the night that I was visiting Ponga and Old School. Hopefully that doesn't come true, but maybe it's just starting. Maybe it's just starting. A lot of uncertainty out there. Kaya, nice to see you. Dropping some fire emojis. Could always use some of those. Kai was not late. Well, I guess I was late for you because it was March. Kai's from the future. We were just talking about if you could see the future a week ahead of time. Kai doesn't have a week for us, but he probably has like a solid 12 hours. Kai, what does the future hold? What should I invest in? What can I 1 million times my net worth in? Let me know what altcoin goes up 20% in the next 12 hours, but I can put all my money into it. Need the red lights tonight. We'll see. I'm going to try to keep them blue and orange on brand, but red could happen. Rip to the beard. The beard is indeed gone. So today it was 30 degrees. Yesterday it was 65 degrees. I went out and I met up with some old coworkers at lunch for lunch, and I'm like, I'm going out to lunch today. There's an outside area that you can sit where we went for lunch, and I'm like, that's happening. And I'm doing that with shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm not doing that with a massive beard. I always go get a really delicious chicken sandwich at this place that we go, and the beard was getting like cumbersome for sure. When you eat the wrong thing, it just becomes a mess. You have to like wash your face. It was more, the beard happened because I don't like shaving. I don't like the upkeep. But once the beard gets to a certain point, it becomes more upkeep than just trimming the beard. So when that tilts that way, then I trim it, especially when the weather's warmer. But I trimmed it for the 65-degree weather, and then I got 35-degree weather. So that's what happens. Guy says, buy me out, please. I do not buy Dragon Ball Z dust. I apologize. Is this young Dan from 2020? No. If you look back, 2020, this was a little bit thicker here, and this was a little bit thicker back here. These are pushed back a little bit further, but it's closer. It looks a little bit closer. I think in 2020, I was still at the engineering job. I was still wearing a respirator on a weekly basis, so I had to be more clean shaven. Started looking, missed the intro. It's the only reason he comes. So yeah, shout out to Hive Mind, as I said. Dan, first live stream I've caught since our consult. Breaking on Whatnot is going great. Crazy how in 4 weeks you can go from no name and Pokemon to 4 or 5 of the same people buying from you weekly. Great to hear. Love to hear the success on Whatnot. Who's this guy? And what did he do with that big bearded man, Dan? How's it going, Pokemon? Dentist. Fresh cut. Yes, yeah, the thumbnail. Sometimes I have like a handful of stock pictures of me, which is just weird. I in Canva, there's like a folder of just my face, and it's got beard lengths all over. Sometimes I use very unrealistic, very clickbait. I guess it's a clickbait thumbnail, right? Because if you clicked for bearded Dan, you didn't get him. You really got clickbaited on that beard. So I apologize if I baited your click with a massive beard, and then you came in disappointed. Is Basic in here? Oh yeah, Basic is in here. I see you, Basic. Basic the MZ King. No more Lumberjack Dan. Fat Belly said Ethereum is low-key the buy, not financial advice. I've not bought or sold any crypto in quite some time. I do have a little bit of Ethereum. I have a fair bit more Bitcoin, but I've not added to either in quite a while. I think my next planned thing is a sell at some point. I basically just, when it feels like it's high and it's going to come down, I sell a little. When it feels like it's low and it's going to go up, I buy a little. All based on vibes. I don't remember all my buy and sell points over the past few years, but I trade once or twice a year tops. Probably less than once a year over the past 5 years in the crypto that I have. What would your focus be on this year if your rip and ship side of the business didn't exist? If Fanatics Live just went away and I wasn't allowed to do, if Fanatics Live went away, I would do eBay Live or whatnot. I would pivot into one of those. But if I had to just, rip and shipping was gone and I couldn't do it again for whatever reason. Buying raw, grading, selling, there's still big margins there. I would do that combined with Fanatics Collect, just selling through the weekly auctions, buying PSA, CGC, BGS 9s, trying to upgrade them into CGC, BGS, PSA 10s. So it would be a lot more focused around grading. I'm not grading a whole lot recently. I do have a couple things cooking with like grading higher volume of lower value stuff through CGC, sending it right to my Fanatics to be sold there. That's going well so far. Man looking good with a fresh haircut, and y'all still haven't hit the like button. Dan's head shrunk like an M. Oh man. We are indeed live. Shout out to Degree and Shiz. I don't have any more PSA 9s for you. They are all ending in the coming weeks on Probstein, Z&G Emporium, and Fanatics. I sent them all out to the various consigning services. Shout out to the Madman Greeny. He I don't want to spoil what he got exactly, but he bought 40 PSA 9s from me. I got such a high 10 rate on my first return that I didn't have 40 to sell him. So I sent him 39 way back when in December. he locked in a price that ended up going up a lot. But he cracked them all out. Cracked them all out and regraded them with PSA. How many PSA 9s turned into PSA 10s? Go check out the Green Shiz Collectibles to find out. The beard is gone. Well, the beard is trimmed heavily. I do it myself. I bought back in college, I think. I bought a pair of wall clippers, WAHL, $35. And usually summertime I usually go with a 2. I do a 2 all around. I did a 3 because it's like, it's still spring. I see the forecast tomorrow, the morning that I was cutting. I'm like, it's gonna be 35 again tomorrow. So let me go with a 3 for that extra little 16th of an inch or whatever it is. And yeah, I cut it myself, and then the wife does everything that I missed and does the back and the ears and stuff. My budget for haircuts is $0 annually, and it shows. I'm quite aware that it shows. But let's see. How much do you think the sealed market reflects the singles market, or vice versa? They are correlated to some extent. They're more correlated at the launch of a set. And what I mean by that is, at the launch of a set, if there's an arbitrage opportunity, like if a box costs $100 market price and the singles within it have an EV of like 150, the market will arbitrage that out. People will buy the boxes, they'll mass rip them, they'll list the singles, the boxes will go up because they're being bought and ripped, the singles will go down because they're being listed and sold, and they'll meet to where like there should be little to no margin mass ripping sealed at like full market price. So they're more correlated at the outset, but like 5, 10, 20 years later, sets like base set, unlimited, sets like EX Team Rocket Returns, most products, the older they get, the more negative EV they become to open. That's not always the case. Back in there are efficiencies at times in a market such as this. Back in 2014 to 2016, 2017 even, I was buying and ripping WotC boxes because they were plus EV. I was doing that. I know PokeRev was doing that at a much higher scale than I was. Many other people were doing it too, because you could buy a Jungle box for $300 to $500, first edition, and you could sell some of the PSA 10s for $300 to $500. You could sell all the PSA 9s for 30, 50 bucks. You could get there. You could get your money back, sell all the light packs, and so yeah, that's the exception though when it comes to vintage stuff. Usually the older it gets, the more negative EV it gets, because the sealed item itself breaks away from the expected value of the singles and it becomes its own distinct collectible. Like getting a box that's several years to several decades old, there's an inherent collector value there. So yeah. What happened when Ditto was hit by sleep powder? It became drowsy. Thank yous are lurking. Everyone says crypto and Pokemon are connected. How long will it take for Pokemon to fall? I think there's a loose correlation there. I've not done the actual math on it. I've not projected that all out. But some parts of Pokemon is so diverse. I don't think Pokemon will like crypto is less diverse than Pokemon overall. But Pokemon as an entire hobby, as an entire like market, there's singles, there's slabs, there's sealed, there's Japanese, there's English, there's Chinese, there's all kinds of stuff. Mid-era, vintage, modern. Crypto is diverse, but like stocks are way more diverse. Every given year, like I'm not just talking within the S&P, but probably even within the S&P, but certainly in the total stock market, you have stocks every year. One stock is 10xing and another stock is losing 90% every single year. Like that is almost a certainty. There are years like in the Great Depression, there are years like 1999 crash. There's times where most of them go down, most of them go up, but every year it's so broad diverse. There's something going up, something going down every day at all times. Every year, every decade, there are things up and down. So Pokemon is similar in that it's quite diverse. I could see the whole market in the coming weeks, months, having a general downturn. Some things will go up during that, but I'm not calling for it. I'm not guaranteeing it by any means, but there's some percentage to attribute to the chance of a broader market pullback of 20 to 30%. certain slabs will get hit harder, and maybe slabs will do worse than sealed does, and certain types of like all over the place. I don't know though. Like if something feels too expensive to me, I generally tend to sell. If something feels too cheap to me, I tend to buy more of them. And well, talk versus walk, Dan. One thing you always say, talk versus walk. What are you doing? I over the past several weeks, I've been Sword and Shield had a big run. I've been auctioning off some Sword and Shield cases here and there, and I'm generally doing them through like Probstein. I've done some through private deals. I'm not like trying to get rid of all of them. I'm just trying to lighten the load on some of them, and I'm trying to really like step up the level of loose packs that I have for the live streams. I like my outlets better. I can't sell cases at 110, 115% of market, but I can sell loose packs at 115% of market with the live streaming. So I'm trying to just get more of my inventory shifted into things like that. I think one thing too, you might see me, sometimes I'll be looking all the way over here. Sometimes I'll be looking all the way over here. I have 3 screens now. I'm excited to have 3 screens. I think I had them for Poke Flips on Friday, but I don't think I had last Wednesday's live stream. I had them for Poke Flips, but not prior to that, I don't believe. So it's nice. I have a lot of stuff going on here, and it's more spread out. It's not like layered upon itself. I don't need to click, but I will be all over the place. Dan got to come out to the NJTCG show. Is that the one with RNG Games? Is that the one his wife runs? I've been watching some of the podcasts. She's putting out so many podcasts. I can't keep up with them all. But maybe that's it. Maybe that's not it. I'm not sure. Let me check my YouTube subscription. Forget what her shows are called. I think she just posted something. The TCG show. Yeah, that looks like it. New Jersey. That looks like it. Yeah. New Jersey's not super far. It's drivable, but it's like 4 or 5 hours drivable. At some point, I want to make it. At some point, I want to make some shows in Syracuse and Albany, and I don't make those. So it's I don't know when, but I do intend to at some point. Thoughts on tag, overall grading and values. I'm cracking 40-something slabs and wondering if tag is the play. I think it's $75 now to, like, you're definitely chasing. Basically, you're late. You're chasing the hype. It would have been better to do this 3 months ago, 6 months ago. But you're paying $75 for the dig report right now to get the full report or ding report, whatever it's called. I have a small pile that I wanted to send a tag, and then they doubled the price and they lowered the turnaround time, and I'm not sure if I'm going to now, but we'll see. I don't like or care for any of the grading card companies that much. People get so tribal. CGC, BGS, PSA, tag. There's so much tribalism going on right now in grading. It's just silly. It's really silly to me. I'll never understand it. I think tag slabs look fine. I think they look better than PSAs. I think they look really clear like CGC. Like I think they're up with CGC with one of the better slabs. But that said, I've not held them in hand. I've not held a tag slab in hand still. So I don't know 100% how I feel about it. But if it makes money, like I'm a Pokemon business. I'm not above making money with whatever grading card company will help me make money. Why do big box stores like Walmart and Target use third-party companies to handle their Pokemon section? I don't know. Why? Yeah, because they have like MJ Holdings. There's a couple different companies that do that. MJ Holdings being one of the bigger ones. But I have no insight into that. I don't know why they do that, as opposed to just buying the inventory and then reselling it. Maybe the margin's not there. Maybe the only way, like, hey, Walmart probably has fairly strict, like, we buy at this, we retail at this, and they might have just looked, like, this is entirely speculation. They might have looked at cardboard and, like, that's just not enough margin for us. You guys can have it in here if you just make us guaranteed money. Like, we don't want to put our money into it, but if you just rent this space from, essentially, that's what's happening. I don't know. Metro says tag is dope. Started Looking says, tag your it. Monkey says, looking sharp, Dan. I appreciate that. Good use of time, hanging out and having bearish conversations with a bunch of old timers. I mean, I always get a kick when people call me bearish. I have more Pokemon. So the peak of my percentage of net worth as Pokemon probably was 2021. In 2021, there was probably a point where 80% of my net worth was in Pokemon. 70 to 80%. If I had to guess today, it's approximately 50%. It's hard to calculate exactly, but it's the biggest number it's ever been. So my net worth today is approximately 50% Pokemon, but that 50% that is Pokemon is a decent, not a ton, but it's a little bit higher than it was in 2020 when it was like 70% of my net worth. Very estimated numbers. I'd have to think a lot harder to refine those, but I just always get a kick of when I'm called a bear because I say, like, I'm not saying I did the thumbnail thing, I did the title thing. Is Pokemon next? Question mark. I didn't say Pokemon is next. If I change the order of those words and I put a period instead of a question mark, that would be a declarative statement that I did not make. I asked the question. I did the clickbait thing a little bit, but I talked about it. I mean, if you use a title and thumbnail that you want people to click, so they'll come in and listen to you, and I talked about the topic, and that's what you got to do, right? So I would call this, like, I don't think I've ever really had bearish or bullish. Like, this is not a bearish or a bullish channel. This is just a channel where you watch one guy, what he's doing in Pokemon and other TCGs and with his personal finances and where he buys his meat from and what brand lawnmower he rides on. I'll consult New Zealand first. That's with respect to Kai being from the future. Fresh trim, Dan caught me off guard. He's horseshoeing. That must be when I was talking about the hairline. You've got too much hair to join us baldies. Maybe it's in a few years. I mean, if this market keeps going the way that it's going, I think this will accelerate. Like you see the pictures of the presidents going into their term, and then 4 years later, and they age about 40 years in that 4 years. I think this 3.5 year Pokemon market. I'm coming close to the end of my first term, or the end of my first 4 year period full time in Pokemon. I'll have to find a snapshot of me well, that's not when I started my YouTube. We're actually about 4 years into when I started my YouTube. I didn't think about that. We let me see when my first video was posted. We might be like exactly on 4 years of this channel. You're welcome, or I apologize. I mean, if you're here, you must enjoy it to some extent, or you just popped in and are not a fan of what you're seeing and you're on your way out. But yeah, I'm going to scroll all the way back. I don't know if you can sort old versus new. I posted 385 videos. There's got to be an easier way to do this, but I'm doing it the hard way. I want to see the date of the first video that I posted. I used to post 3 videos a week. I was on that grind. That was when I was a full-timer too. I used to post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which is insane to me. My first video I posted was on March 26th. I'm going to write that down. March 26th of 2021. March 26th is, what's the date? It's a Wednesday, because that's 14 days from today. So in 2 weeks, I'll be having my, I should be able to have my live stream then. I'm going to Fort Lauderdale that weekend for Metazoo's launch, Collecticon. 2 weeks will be my 4 year anniversary on this channel. I'll have to see what the hairline looked like on my first video versus I guess I could just pull it up. Let's see. Oh man, babyface Dan. Look at this. Let me is this gonna, yeah. Look at Nick shielding his face. Look at me. I'm so where I used to be was I used to just be in front of a shelf with the uncut sheets, and I had one of these. You can't see it now, but I had one of the red blue collection Charizard things behind me. That's 4 years. How's it look? 4 years, how am I doing? Let me I'll use this as part of a thumbnail in a future video, side by side. Definitely I'm not tilting my head down, but yeah, I am a little bit there. Definitely not too bad though. Not too bad. With this market we've been in, I feel like that's decent. I feel like that's decent for 4 years later. Let me go get rid of, oh, wrong one. Let me get rid of this and let me go back here. Beard is clickbait. Any tips for shipping packs your way in a cost-effective but safe manner? Oh, so yes, I double box. The big key is 2 boxes, and I don't have any next to me. I usually break them down elsewhere. If I do them in my office, it's a mess too quickly. But one thing some people do, a lot of people here grade cards. I've had people send me packs in these, packed tight in here, and then like 6 of these, and then into a larger box. Some people use empty ETBs. I think an empty ETB fits like 40 packs or something ish, 35 to 40 packs. They just fill empty ETBs, and then they put the empty ETBs into a bigger box. There's your double box. Pack tightly. Pack tightly. Packs are rugged. Sometimes I have people ship me like a massive Home Depot box, and they just do things loosely, and there's this much void space at the top, and everything just gets thrown. Like, packs are pretty rugged. They're mass produced. They're pretty rugged. The cards aren't going to get damaged inside as long as you're not getting crazy. But packed tightly within a rugged box into a bigger box, again packed tightly. Void space and room for movement is the enemy of shipping things. It's not going to be like a Stein, not going to end up breaking in that way. But generally, just you can do about 900 packs. You stand under 50 pounds. 900 packs, depending on where you are in the country, you can ship 900 packs to me UPS for 30 to 50 bucks, depending. So you're talking 3 to 5 cents a pack, somewhere in that vicinity. Do I have any loose Unified Minds or Hidden Fates packs? Bought some off Troll and Toad, and there's some white residue on the seal. I do have a bunch of Hidden Fates. I don't have Hidden Fates right over there. But one thing I've said, I just said this recently to somebody in Discord. The overlap between the variance in quality control and a good reseal is troubling. So Troll and Toad is a legitimate operation. I don't know if you bought it from an Evo seller. Troll and Toad has a buy list though. I think Troll and Toad would be pretty good at vetting packs. I think I would lean towards, not having seen it myself, buying from Troll and Toad. I would lean towards it being just for QC. But if I saw it, maybe I would. It's hard to say. I mean, it's impossible to say. Even with a picture, it would be impossible to say. Not even having the picture, it is very impossible to say. Basic is going XRP, not financial advice. Oh, we got Helga Pataki in here. Thank you, Helga. Will you start taking shipments addressed to that big forehead? Rest in peace, Bangs. Thank you, Helga Pataki, for being here. I am Arnold here, live from the Catch 'em All Collectibles YouTube channel. Didn't feel it was high at 107K, but now it's high at 82K. He's gonna plan to sell. Shaking my head, why people watching this guy? Oh, I didn't say I'm gonna sell now. I said my next thing that I'm going to do is a sale. But yeah, I didn't sell at 107K. I generally not I could open up my Coinbase and I could see what my last transactions were. So what I do is I buy when it feels low, and then if it goes lower, I might buy a little more. So sometimes I'll buy a couple times in a row or sell a couple times in a row. If I did sell some at 100 and then it went up to 107, I might sell a little bit more. I've varied in what I've done over the years. But one thing I'll never do. So I think my last buy, let me just find it so I'm not guessing. So I bought, the issue is, see, my Coinbase doesn't show all my buys. This is just moving Bitcoin. the last time I bought on Coinbase, I've bought on oh, what's the one? BNB, Binance. Binance is the one I bought on the last couple times. So I'm not logged into that anywhere. It's gonna be too hard to find. But I want to say the last time I bought was in the 30 range. And so I've made a rule where I'm not gonna sell lower than that. So if it goes to 20 in the next week and it never comes back, I'll take the Bitcoin I have with me to the grave, probably. I'm not gonna sell any lower than I bought. And once I sell, I won't buy any higher than I sold. Hopefully you can follow that confusing description that I made there. But yeah, I want to say the last time I bought was in the 30s-ish, and it did bottom out at like 17. I bought in the 30s. After having sold around 60, because I want to say I doubled up on basically I might have sold half a Bitcoin at 60 for 30 grand. And then I rebought like a full Bitcoin at 30 grand, something of the sort. I don't remember the exact specifics, but it was something like that. And in hindsight, when it went to 17 after me buying at 30, I should have bought more, right? But I just didn't. I didn't end up doing it. And then I think in my mind, my sell price target is around 100. It was clearly there, but I was busy. I didn't end up doing it for whatever different reason. And I don't anticipate I'll sell any. I can't say definitively that I won't sell any below 100K, but I don't see myself selling any in the next couple months. We'll see what the price does. But hindsight, I should have sold it all at 100 and then rebought it at 80, right? And made 25% on my money buying it back cheaper. But unfortunately, Kai lives in the future, and he didn't share that information with me, so he's hogging it all for himself. We got Mountain West Collectibles 2xing. We will. Well, this was 23 minutes ago, so I believe Mountain West Collectibles is now live with us. Do I think PC ETBs will have a pullback? I have no idea, and I have no inventory of PC ETBs, so I don't put any thought into it. I think they could. I know they could. Will they though? If you had asked me 3 months ago, and maybe someone did, Dan, do you think PC ETBs are going to go up or down? I can't believe what they're doing. I truly can't believe what they're doing. It's mind-blowing to me. It makes no sense. I was talking about this the other day in Discord too. But one card that I think of when I look at one card that I really think of when I look at stamped ETB promos. The Charmander on ZNG Emporium just went for like $2 grand. The Charmander from Obsidian Flames. I think that is insane. I don't own any. I never will own any. I will consign them. If you have a $2,000 stamped Charizard or Charmander PSA 10, if you have that, let me find it. If you have one of those bad boys, consign today. I will net you out 93.33% if it sells for $480 to $2,400, which I believe it will. Maybe it's headed for $2,400, in which case I'll net you 95% of the total sale price on Fanatics. So feel free to reach out if you want to consign. But I think those are insane. They're undervalued though, relative to the Cheetozard. So let me pull up eBay. Let me pull up a couple different things on eBay. I'm going to pull up a Staff Vivid Voltage PSA 10 Charizard. And I'm going to pull up a PSA 10 PC ETB Charmander. These two cards feel similar to me. And maybe I'll clip this. Maybe I'll make it into a short. Maybe someone will clip it for me. And 3-5 years from now, maybe they'll be like, ha, Dan, you dummy. You were wrong. Because that Charmander PC ETB promo is now $10,000. I don't think that will be the case. Like $2,000 Charmander stamped ETB promo feels to me like $1,000 EVs and Pikachus from Jungle. It feels to me like right now I'm only seeing let me pull this up. To camera. Let me go here. Here's the card we're talking about. Not financial advice. I own none of these. Talk versus walk, blah blah blah. I'm not telling you to buy these. I'm not telling you to sell them. I'm telling you what I would do. I own 0. If I owned any amount greater than 0, they would all be going for sale immediately. I'm not telling you to sell yours. I'm telling you, if I had them, I would sell them immediately. To be fair, I would have sold them 3 months ago, 6 months ago. I would have sold them at every price point they were since they came out. I would have gotten a lot less money than let me look up ETB stamp. I thought James just sold one recently, but it wasn't coming up. James must have a poor title or something. Why is he not showing up? I'm pretty sure he sold one at $2,000, but I can't see it anyways. But yeah, this card, it feels a lot to me like this. So, little bit of context. I was around when these came out. I was not a staff of any event, but I bought a lot of these. So, Vivid Voltage, history lesson. The box was like $200 out of the gate. It felt insane. I didn't know what was gonna happen with a Vivid Voltage box at 200. All I know was I didn't want one. I sold them all. I sold them all at 200. I'm selling almost all my Surging Sparks at 250. I think Surging Sparks has a pretty decent chance at continuing to be Vivid Voltage 2.0. Way too high, way too stonky out of the gate. Reprints, I could see multi-years of Surging Sparks after doing what it's doing now. I could see multi-years of it being sub-MSRP. It's still way above MSRP as of today. I'm not telling you to sell yours, but I sold most of mine. I keep some because I want to sell on the live streams through PK and Pong every night. But this card is a rare stamped variant of a card that's in the set and it's in the pre-release kits, and this is a staff stamped one. I sold several of these, several being at least 5, maybe more than 10. I can't remember. It was a blur. These past 4 years have been a blur. I sold several of these at $2,000 plus. The first time I sold one at $2,000, I was like, take this away from me. You cannot get this out of my hands quick enough. And then I sold one for 3. And then I sold one for 4. And then I sold another one for 4. And then I sold another one. I remember distinctly, I sold a few in a 1 or 2 week span for over $4,000. Think of the opportunity cost in Pokemon. This card was $4,000 a few years ago, and it's $950 now as a buy it now. I don't know for certain, but I have a feeling. I got a feeling, bad vibes. I feel it in my gut. I had this feeling on a $15,000 PSA 9 Shadowless Charizard. I had this feeling on a PSA 10 Jungle First Edition Eevee for $1,000. I had this feeling on a $6,000 base set unlimited Charizard in a PSA 9. I had a feeling, to be fair, I had a feeling on Evolution's booster boxes at 500. And then they went to 1,000. And then they only dropped to 700. So like this card could do anything, but I am fairly certain it will do one thing, and it might go to 3,000 before it goes down. It might go to 4,000 before it goes down, but I have a pretty good feeling what the ultimate fate of that card will be, and I don't want any part of it. If you enjoy it, blah, 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 do whatever you want to do. You're a grown adult. We're all grown adults here. I'm not providing advice. I'm just telling you what I would do if I had them. And Retro says, talk about all the Monk promos you sold for 100. Yeah, I mean, I bought a lot. I only bought a dozen or so Mimikyu ones because they were expensive. Mimikyus were like $100, and I only bought like a dozen or maybe 2 dozen of those tops. Pikachus I liked, but they were expensive because they were like 20 or 30 bucks. So Munch promos, the Scream promos, I bought 50 or 100 Pikachus. I can't remember. I bought hundreds of the Rowlet Eevee Psyduck I remember I was paying $20 for the set of 3. I was paying $6 or $7 a piece for the Rowlets and the Eevees and the Psyducks. And I was grading them. I paid $6 a piece. I probably paid $8 to grade them. And then I was selling the PSA 10s for 40 and 50. Not 100 Retro. I was selling them for 40 and 50. And you know what I would do? I would buy the set of 3 for 20. I would put $30 into grading them. Not even. That's rounding way up. And then I would sell the set of 3 graded for 120 bucks. Back in the day, that was good margin. That was a good flip. That was good money. And what I did with the proceeds, I went and I bought more sets. And I did it again and I bought more sets. And I sold Monk promos all the way up to $1,000 EVs. And like I sold a lot of them too soon. But like with all the information that I had, just like what I was saying earlier, you do the best you can do with the information you have at the time. in hindsight, if I knew they were going to become what they are today, would I have bought any? No, because I would have bought Bitcoin, because I would have bought something that did better. It's just such a stupid conversation to like look back and dwell on what could have been, and all the money that I made taking the money out of those plays, I put into other things that did well too. Some did better, some did worse. Like that's just it is what it is. Was I hedging because the Pikachu was not clothed? Yeah, the fundamentals relative to this card, where you have a Pikachu with clothing on, the fundamentals were very poor on the Monk promo. So this is a very popular art piece where he's wearing clothes. Screen promos, great artwork, very historic. Weaker fundamentals though, due to not having clothes. So naturally, no, Brad, I pledged. The only jersey I will ever buy in the future will have my own name on it or no name on it. It will not. I have a Mark Sanchez jersey somewhere. I have a Geno Smith jersey somewhere. Never again. I didn't get Darnold. I didn't get Zach Wilson, but I have Geno Smith and Mark Sanchez. So never again. It'll be my own name. It'll be Ketchum on the back. It'll be something like that. It's a lizard looking out the window. The floor is at least 420. Yeah, again, like, and let me know in the chat. So I just like people are asking me what should I do with my PCETBs? What should I do with my PCETB promos? To some extent, we had the question earlier too. Look at all the tie-ins that we get. Look at all the tie-ins we get. So someone asked me, like, could PCETBs go down? Some amount of the PCETBs prices are, they're like definitely feeding somewhat off of the promo. Like people would be maybe a little bit crazy to buy 10 PCETBs to rip them to try to grade the cards because the 10 rates are so low. They're so hard to grade. But still, if this card goes to $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, that thought will be in the back of some people's minds. Some people will be doing that. And again, I think the sealed. So here's a better way to frame the question. Percentage-wise, I see this card having one way to go. It might go up first, but down is the long-term projection. My opinion, blah, blah, blah. But I could see the sealed going down a little bit to match. Like, here's a good analogy. In 2021, $1,000 Eevee and Pikachu PSA 10 first editions from Jungle. That box peaked at $30,000 to $35,000. That box today, well, that box a year and a half ago was $10,000 flat. So the box went down 60%. And the card went down 90%. I could see this card going down. Like Jungle is not the same as Obsidian Flames, yada yada, vintage versus modern. But there's a lot of these out there. If the right things were to happen, this card could go down 90%. If the right things were to happen, or wrong, I guess, depending on your perspective. If the wrong thing were to happen, this card could go down 90%. If the wrong things were to happen, the PCETB could go down 60%. I think the ETB will fare better over time, as the Jungle Booster Box generally has, compared to the Eevee and the Pikachu. But I don't want either one. I don't like either one at all. I'm not holding either. I'm not, like, if I'm buying either, it's only to immediately sell for more money. I don't like PCETBs. I don't like slabs. If you can get PCETBs at like MSRP on a restock, I love them. Yes, I love tripling my money. Yes, I like, absolutely. A lot of people were talking about, oh, it's a guaranteed play. Like, it ended up being right. It ended up going up. But well, if it was guaranteed, like, surely you put $100,000 into it and you're a multimillionaire now. But I don't think that's actually the case for anybody. But that's one of the fundamental problems with the PCETB. If I could click a couple buttons and just put 10 or 20 grand into them, I would be more apt to go after them. But usually the way PCETBs work, I see they're dropping. I go about my day working on things where I know I can make margin and not be frustrated. And I spend a couple hours making some money, doing some listings, doing a graded card submission, taking care of some consignment payouts. And then I go back to Discord and it's like, oh, I got one. Oh, I got two. Oh, I spent 3 hours looking at a loading screen while I was refreshing on my work computer. And I didn't get any work done all day, but I still got my paycheck, and who cares? I don't get a paycheck. I don't get a paycheck if I'm not doing something. So I don't chase those things. I don't try to battle with the bots. Um, Let me scroll back because I did jump ahead in chat a little bit. Appreciate you, TK Magic Shop. E-Unit says Pokemon only goes up. Stop being scared. Open another credit card and max it out. Those are not my words. Those are E-Unit's words. Dan, do you think you could win a decent debate against you, PK, or Ponga? I think I'm decent at debating. I mentioned this on a live stream at one point over the past few months, I think. I never did debate in high school. We had like a debate team or a debate class or whatever it was. I didn't do it, but I like debating. PK and I, and Nick and I on Poke Flips. We've had some back and forths, and I think I can usually lay out a fairly logical argument. I definitely rant and ramble more than I should. I would be a lot better debater if I was more concise. I probably put too many people to sleep before I get to the point, and that would actually make me a poor debater. But I think what's going on in here is solid. I could build a good case, but by the time I convey that to people, it's just diluted down through rants and rambles. I'll have to check that out at some point, for sure. How do I feel about ARS? Is ARS a grading company? I think it is. I'm going to the Agricultural Research Service, the Argentine Peso, the Artist Rights Society, ARS grading. When you search ARS grading, oh, it's a Japanese one. I was going to say, like, the top 10 results on Google are not the company itself. Maybe because it's Japanese. So I had to search ARS grading Japan, and then they come up. I don't like the thought of grading overseas. I don't generally like that they put the label below the card, but that's like a, I don't know. I don't, the biggest thing, I don't like my disadvantage of being overseas from them. If I were in Japan, I would probably be on board with ARS, but I am not. Basic does not like his paywalls, but he's locked in for the zoo. I have a Massey Ferguson 42-inch cut ride-on lawnmower with a Briggs & Stratton 4.5 horse motor, maybe? Sounds right. I'm going to Fort Lauderdale, yes. Why did you not sell me any graded Dan Metazoo promos like you promised to sell in 2024? I think I did mention somewhere that I was going to sell. So you may or may not know, but my hesitation came up when I bought a passive minority share in the company that purchased Metazoo from bankruptcy. So I apologize for not having sold any of those. It just did not feel worth the risk, worth the potential issues. I think what I'm going to do, I guess we can talk about it here for a minute. I'm torn. So for anyone uninitiated, I used to be a partner with Metazoo. I got 500 of my own, like, I don't have one handy, I don't think, of my own partner stamped Aura card, Earth Aura. I sold them for $19.99, and I committed, like, I guaranteed that the price would only go up. The price could not go down. How could I guarantee that? Because I had the whole supply. I sold 100 of them, I believe, at $19.99, and I said I'll buy them back for $20. You can't lose money. And then I raised the buyback price to $25, and I sold another 50 at $24.99. So anyone who bought them from me at MSRP couldn't lose money. I think I'm gonna end that experiment. I just don't like having that out there when I own the company, even though it's like, it's the old company, I didn't own that one. It's just a weird dynamic. I think what I'm going to do soon, I think I'm going to put a buy list out for, you guys have until this date to redeem your Dan Metazoo promo if you would like, for $50 or something. So like everyone who owned one relative to Pokemon, relative to Bitcoin, relative in hindsight, relative to a lot of other things, it performed quite poorly if it only doubled, right? So I'm gonna give you like, you have 1 month to ship the card back to me, and I'll pay you $50, friends and family, Zelle, whatever. And then my buy list is off forever. I just, it was a fun little thing to do, but I don't like it anymore. I don't like that dynamic with new Metazoo coming out, with that being some of its dark history, and yeah, I'm probably going to terminate that little experiment. That said, once I close the buyback window, I do have a handful of graded ones. I might just chuck graded ones, because then at that point, there's no anchor to the price. There's no buoy to the price. Maybe I'll destroy some amount of the sealed bricks that I have still, so that people wouldn't have to worry about those coming out. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. But yeah, Brad, you fool though. Brad sold one back for 20, and then he sold some back for 25. He sold way too early. What a fool. Anyways, appreciate you, Alejandro. I apologize, Greenie. I will likely auction those someday, but it will be, let the market decide what they're worth. There will be no Dan buyback. What I had planned to do, if I didn't buy Metazoo, if it never came back, well, if it continued on the way that it was going, and I was still a partner through old Metazoo, I planned on auctioning and then just donating to charity or something. I was gonna auction a CGC Pristine 10, a Beckett Pristine 10, and the PSA 10 all through my Fanatics auction block, and I was gonna donate it all to some charity or whatever. I just out of curiosity, I wanted to see what the market would have valued that. The market being like 5 different people in here, maybe 2 people in here. But it would have been fun. I just don't want to do it anymore. It's not worthwhile. Pokemage is going to be buried with his Dan Metazoo promo. What happened to the cat on my face? Gone. Let's see. How many zoo boxes do I have? So I'm gonna make one more, and I know some people might be leaving now because it's a little Metazoo segment. I'm gonna wrap up the Metazoo segment within the next couple minutes, and I'll be back to Pokemon, but I answer all my questions. So when Metazoo died, I had about 4 cases of every set from Cryptid Nation 2nd Edition, Nightfall, all those. Not Cryptid Nation 1st Edition. I had 2 Kickstarter boxes. So I have 2 behind me. I have 1 in a safe. I have 3 now. So I have 3 Kickstarter boxes. I have 4 cases of every set except for Cryptid Nation 1st Edition, including Kuromi, because I bought those like several months ago. I just bought, though. I'm going to make a Metazoo Saturday video next Saturday or the following Saturday. Sorry, this Saturday or the following Saturday before Fort Lauderdale. And I bought 3 pallets of old Metazoo. 3 pallets. If anyone's interested, not financial advice, I'm taking a gamble. I bought 1 pallet of UFO, 1 pallet of Sans, 1 pallet of Cryptid Nation 2nd Edition. If anyone's interested, they're listed on eBay in lots of 5. I messaged the seller, Evend, and I said, hey, can I buy a pallet of each of these? And they said, yeah, it'll cost this much. Arrange freight on your own, and they're delivering tomorrow. 3 pallets of old Metazoo are delivering tomorrow. So, Dan, why are you doing that? Well, in my Metazoo Saturday video, where I disclosed the fact that I own part of it, I ordered 720 boxes of the new set, which I believe pre-orders closed today. So hopefully in the next week or so, I'm going to get allocation numbers on, am I getting all 720 boxes? And am I getting cut 50%? That comes out in 2 weeks and 2 days. So I'm really excited for Metazoo to come back, and we'll see what happens. I see Julia's question at the bottom. I'll jump to that quick. What's on your shirt? Pokemon. We have Bulbasaur, Cubone, Psyduck. We have Charmander, Togepi, Jigglypuff. And we have Squirtle, Slowpoke, Pikachu. Gotta catch them all. I got this as a gift from somebody for this past Christmas. I think my sister got me this. So, sporting a Pokemon shirt. Retro says, now I got to dig around for that promo. Sigh. But yes, maybe I'll do it for this Saturday. And what I'll do is I'll talk through the business plan. I'll talk through live streaming, all that stuff. And I'll say like, hey guys, the Metazoo Dan promo thing was fun. As I had guaranteed, you will not lose money, but this is your last chance to not lose money. I'm going to do a one final buyback. I'll post about it on Instagram, on YouTube. I'll post about it everywhere. I'll email a bunch of people. I have an email list somewhere from all the people that were, some people got those for free. Some people were awarded them from buying boxes from me at MAP, minimum advertised price. So I'll make it known that you have like 1 month or so to sell them back. And if you don't sell them back, then it's done and over with. And you will be at the whim of the market. They will be, their value will be decided by the open market at that point. Let's see. A haircut indeed. When I cut my hair, the wife and kids went away to school and I didn't tell them. Usually I'll cut my hair and then the wife will straighten it up and fix it. I did it in the morning. This was Thursday morning after they left to surprise them. And then I went to lunch with my old coworkers. And usually when I'm done doing my hair, my wife will go over it and there'll be like little tiny pieces that I miss. I see them fall on the floor. And I went out to lunch and I like went to the post office and I went to UPS. I did a bunch of things. And then my wife that night finishes up my hair and she's taken like clumps. I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I went out like this. I can't believe how much I missed. I did way worse than I normally do. But anyways, it was a good lunch and no one said anything. So Julia has watched me since summer of 2021. One of the OGs. That must have been back when I had 300 subscribers. Appreciate you being here. I like to grow it out for winter and then springtime comes or it's getting close. You get that first 60-degree day and I gotta trim it down. Is that what happens when you run a business from home? I thought home ran business owners kept their youth. I thought that looked not too bad. The 4-year side by side. I didn't think it looked that bad. The isolation puts you in jump territory. Very stressful job. I feel like my 4-year, I feel like that wasn't too bad. I'm actually, I don't know what I weighed when I quit my job. I'm probably 10, 15 pounds lighter than then, but maybe not. Maybe I was 230, 235 when I quit my job. I can't remember. Question, with Rocket Set coming and demand still high, do you think Pokemon Center and large sellers will start lottery systems or unique codes for buyers? How do you think this would affect demand? I don't know. I don't buy from that avenue, so I don't put any thought into that. It's, remember like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when we were doing lotteries to like get PSA submissions, and I think Tag is doing that now for their submissions. It's just so crazy. It's so crazy what we go through. Whatever they do, it'll probably be bottable. Just like RuneScape. Whatever they do in RuneScape to combat bots hurts the average like player, the average real consumer, more than it hurts the robots. The robots just have to like reprogram the robot and then boom, they crush it. They crush through all the menus and the people are getting hung up more. So that's my thoughts on that. Ethereal phenotype. Is there more value keeping the Zard UPC sealed or open it and sell the packs and promos? You'd have to just do the math. I don't know what the latest math is on that. There's definitely been times where certain products are plus EV to break down. Sometimes they might be like 5 or 10% less expected value breaking them down. But what you need to consider is like, does the liquidity go up or does the shipping cost go down? Like, I know it's not $100 now, but say it was 100 selling shipped sealed or 95 selling the component. I mean, you'd potentially be better off just not selling them pack by pack. But if you broke down 36 of them and sold 36 pack lots of all of them, as opposed to just sending 36 of those individually, even though you might be losing 5 or 10 percentage points, you might be gaining that on what you're saving in shipping. So yeah, a lot of different ways to think about that. Hidden Fates is notoriously bad with seals on some batches. So I had someone who was selling me Hidden Fates, the ET, like what I was paying on packs. I did buy some ETBs. I should have bought more ETBs. But people were like, I have a sealed case of Hidden Fates ETBs that I don't want to bother with. I had someone break down a sealed case of Hidden Fates ETBs, grade the promos themselves, and sell me all the packs. They did the math on it. They're like, hey, I'm gonna have this many hidden fates packs to sell you. They, honest person, they opened them up. This is a hidden fates ETB case. They didn't buy it from eBay. They didn't buy it. I actually had multiple people do this to me over a short time, and they're like, these were half opened. Like, I got these were good ETBs that I got from Distro or a good source years ago, and they opened up the ETB and the packs were like half, 2/3 open. So they're like, yeah, I'm just gonna rip them. I kind of have to now because the seal, the QC was so bad. So yeah, that happens. So what about people scanning the packs with plumbing finders? The piping, I think it goes on to some extent. So be careful who you buy from. I mentioned this before, back when that was like the hot topic of the week. I have people send me packs first and I pay later. I have methods to test to see if you might be screwing around with your packs. I open some packs, I do whatever I gotta do. And if someone sends me packs that are not fair, not true, not real, that's gonna be a bad time for them, given that they have no money yet. So I am inherently safer with the way that I do business, and I do the best I can do to avoid all those issues. Let's see. I am ready for Fort Lauderdale. I'm excited. It's 2.5 weeks. I haven't booked my plane tickets yet. I have to do that soon. Panga, I don't know where Panga is. He's not streaming right now. It's Wednesday, so PK is streaming. People are suckers for promos. Yeah, Kevin clears out here just eating Cheetos from the bag without even looking for Charizards. We make our choices and we don't look back. Justin Fields better than Tua. Take that, Brad G. Holy, Pokin Fun just sold 151 Snorlax PC PSA 10 for 740. Like, I don't care what that card does. If I was Pokin Fun and I sold that for 740, I don't care if that thing is $5,000 in 5 years. I take that money. I like, with all information you know as of today, that is a good sale. It might go way up from here. It might never look back. But if I had to guess one way or the other, I think on a 2, 5, 10-year plus time frame, you will be ridiculously happy in absolute terms. And then in additional, because of like opportunity cost, now you have that money. You have the money to go do something else and go do something else. It might be 1,500 in 2 months, but you can't know that. Let's see. Narrative could shift very quickly. Any minute now, the market cap of Pokemon Center ETBs will move into Neopets TCG. Retro must have a position built. He's chilling Neopets TCG. I have a Discord that I run that pays me some amount of money, so I do go through and I read throughout the day, a handful of times a day. Yes. I'm getting close to getting caught up. When I get caught up, I'm probably going to end for the night. I see we have 134 people watching. A lot of people are probably, hopefully no one. But sometimes, like with Pokeflips, I've been tagged in stories before. Sometimes with my own live streams, I've been tagged in stories where people have me like on their living room TV, on like a 70-inch TV. That like blows my mind. I hope I'm just like, I have 3 monitors now. I have 3 24-inch monitors, 2 horizontal, 1 vertical. When I watch YouTube, unless it's like Pokemon Classics, I'll give him half of one screen. But for me, I put it all the way over to the side. Over here, I have Discord, and then at the bottom of my vertical thing, my water bottle's halfway in front of it. That's where I put my YouTube video. And I listen to hours of YouTube videos a day on 2x. I watch almost none of it. But hopefully most people are doing that with me. Hopefully, like, you don't need to see me. Hopefully people are pre-grading their gray felt hats. Hopefully people are pre-grading their PC ETB promos. Hopefully they're listing on eBay on their main screen, and I'm just off to the side. But Fresh Tats right now is watching on a TV. That's That's frightening to me. The thought of me being that large on a screen is crazy. But yeah, I'm going to probably wrap up whenever I catch up with the live chat. So feel free to ask your questions and I will answer them all. Dan about to get his dad on a Metazoo investment pallet. So I may or may not have asked my dad up front, hey dad, you know that trading card game that I bought part of? I'm buying some amount of and I'm buying some amount of that 3 pallets worth, 3 sets. Part of that is like immediately reselling it, almost immediately. Sometime in the next month or two, I plan on potentially trying. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe I can't do it. But I plan on trying to do a Metazoo live streaming operation. Whether it's on Fanatics or eBay Live or whatnot, I'm not entirely sure yet. But I want to fire up a Metazoo live streaming operation with the new stuff. And when like my average price, including shipping, I want to let me just pull it up on eBay. I think I paid $750 in freight for so $250 a pallet, which felt reasonable. I paid $12,096. So I paid $13,000. Paid $13,000 for, and we'll see how this pans out. 576 times 3. I bought 1,728 booster boxes of Metazoo for $13,000 shipped to my dad's door. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, I'm doing this crazy thing. I'm buying 3 pallets of booster boxes. Do you want in? That I can cut you in. And he said, yep. Said, say no more. Say no more. Cut me in. How many boxes did I say again? 576 times 3. What did I pay per box? I paid $750 per box. So I feel good about that. They're selling. Like if you go to that eBay page where they're selling them, so you can actually see. Like if you go to eVend, you can see the listing that I bought in their sold history. Make sure I get the right one. So this is the one I bought. They made a custom listing for me, $12,096. It was 3 of each ETB, 3 of each booster box, 1 pallet of each booster box. I'm lost. I'm all over the place. But this seller, they have and this is not financial advice. Blah blah blah. This is what I buy. This is not me telling you to buy anything. But they've sold 1,020 5-box lots for $11 a box. Not that there's a ton of margin there. You can't ship for that. But when I see thousands of boxes selling for 11, I was selling them for 20, for 25 before Metazoo fully went bankrupt or after they went bankrupt. The fact that these things are selling at these prices in high quantities, I feel pretty decent. And maybe I'm gonna get punished. Maybe I'm entirely wrong about it. But I feel decent about my ability to sell these for 50 cents a pack on live streams, buyer pays shipping, $1 a pack, eventually, hopefully. That's my thought. Maybe that pans out very poorly. But what I told my dad, tomorrow the pallets are getting delivered. I'm gonna go Friday, and I'm gonna take 3 pallets of 1 set each. I'm gonna completely take down 1 pallet, and I'm gonna put like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. We're gonna wrap one up. We're gonna lock it away. We're gonna set it back with the Pokemon palette, not touching it till 2030. And opportunity cost wise, the 1 pallet I'm not touching till 2030. It's $5,000. It's too, like, so here's a question. There's gonna be some naysayers in the chat. I'm not telling you to do anything. What wins? Flip this, quote this, all that good stuff. What wins? What would you invest in if you had to? Would you pick 3 Pokemon Center Obsidian Flames ETB promos in PSA 10? Or would you pick 1 pallet of 1/3 UFO, 1/3 Seance, 1/3 Cryptid Nation 2nd Edition? I'm just telling people what I'm doing. I know which one I'm picking. I could buy either one right now, and I'm buying the one that I think is drastically going to overperform. I think it's going to drastically overperform. We've got Inept Card Collector. The year is 2035. Crown Zenith is $69 a pack. And Metazoo 2.0 is $420 a pack. What a world. I have no idea. I have, I believe, a PSA 10 Rudy the Investment Sasquatch. I think they're way less than $600. I think that's a very bad deal because I think they go for way less than that. I could be wrong though. Let me Google really quick. Rudy Investment Sasquatch. But again, I'm one guy. Yeah, a PSA 10 Rudy Investment Sasquatch auctioned late December, so it's 3 months ago for 112. If they're 600 now, that's crazy. I would not be a buyer of that personally. But I think I have one somewhere. So again, $5,000. Locking away $5,000 for 5 years. The low percent that is, the downside is I lose all of it and I waste my time and I opportunity cost, blah blah blah. But it feels like a good bet. It feels like it could go to zero, but it also could. If those boxes return to what the boxes used to be, could happen, might never happen. That's a 10x. If those boxes, like I was selling Stance boxes for 80, 100. I was selling Cryptid Nation second edition boxes at one point for, I never had many of those. So maybe I wasn't with Cryptid Nation, but UFO. I was selling UFO for 80, 100, a little bit over 100. I don't know. If it doesn't pan out, that's where title of the video is Pokemon next. Like what happens? Not like, oh, if Pokemon goes down 30%, if Metazoo goes down 100%, what does that mean? If my Metazoo palette goes to zero, if the company goes to bankruptcy again, I'm not out on the street. I'm not like unable to help my kids save for college. I'm not unable to pay any bills. It's like extra money. I'm set back. Like my net worth 50 years from now is a lot less than it would be had I just put that in the S&P 500. If it goes bankrupt, it goes to zero and on and on. But marginal utility of excess amount of money above some certain baseline number, all that conversation. But buy the one that fits in your pocket, not a large landfill. You always pick Pokemon over Metazoo. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not advising anyone buy those. But me having the outlets that I do, me already having a decent investment in the company, me already having a decent investment in the new product coming out. Like my order of 720 boxes is $40,000 to $50,000. I'm buying $40,000 to $50,000 in new zoo. I feel like they're gonna be correlated a little bit too. I think if new zoo succeeds, it will pull up old zoo a little bit. How much? I don't know. But if new zoo fails, I think old zoo will stay down, right? But we'll see what happens. I'm one dude running my business and making some plays. Some plays I've knocked them out of the park, and other plays not as much, and everywhere in between. So we'll see what happens. I'm not touching Final Fantasy personally. I don't really do Magic much at all. So yeah, I'm just not touching it. I didn't have any connection to Final Fantasy as a kid either. Never played it growing up. Keep the questions coming, because once I catch up, I will end the live stream. Can you turn the lights red and crap on banks again, please? I need them. Banks are terrible. I am. They've been better. So once, like, I've been with Chase now for several months. It was miserable for the first little bit. Wise is being terrible to me right now. They're asking for more information and this and like. But every so often with Chase, I'll add a new ACH recipient for a consigner or for a pack buy, whatever. And I have to tell them all the same crap. And it's just like, can't you guys figure this out eventually? Can't you see my IP address? Can't you see that it's me confirming? Like, they do a text message confirmation. So can't you see that it's me on the same IP address, confirming with the same IP address? And I don't understand it. Banks, I'm not going to turn the lights red. I'm not going to go deep into it. But I hate banks. I hate them. It's so frustrating just trying to move money. I made a video at the start of the year in 2024, I sold over $3 million of Pokemon cards. That's $60,000 every week in and out. And this year I'm on pace for maybe $5 million. That's $100,000 a week in and out. And they just make it a miserable process. It's like I'm not like a big crypto shill. I own a little bit of it. As with everything, I will tell you my holdings in whatever I'm talking about. To be full disclaimer, full like, I'm not trying to pump anything. I'm just talking about what I have, what I do. So one thing I love about crypto is that I've sent six-figure sums instantly around the world. 1 or 2 minutes, you know that it's sent. I've sent wires for 10 grand and the bank is like kicking it back and not telling me they kicked it back. And it's such a miserable nightmare mess that banks are. So yeah. The market on Dan promo will finally not be capped. If you were starting as a collector with no connects and wanted to buy a few cases of any of the upcoming Pokemon sets, what would be your first steps besides just buying the lowest on TCG Player? I probably would not, as unsatisfactory as that answer is. So if you would ask me this 4 years ago, I would have given you the same answer. If you would ask me this 4 years ago when Vivid Voltage was 200 and Battle Styles was 180 or whatever it was, I would have said, probably don't start with the newest set at above MSRP, because every set historically has made it back under MSRP eventually. I would say, I would preach patience. Like, I'm not telling you to go away. I would look at singles. I would look at some 4, 5, 6-year-old sets. Let me pull up a spreadsheet. I'm not going to pull it up on stream because it has other information on it. But I would look back, like Astral Radiance right now is $5.40 a pack. Scarlet Violet Base is $5.16 a pack. I would rather buy Pokemon Go and Astral Radiance and Battle Styles now. Like, I would have told you years ago, don't buy Battle Styles at 150, 180. Buy it later. And in between then and now, when now it's like 180, 190 again, it was like $90, $100, $110, 100. It was everywhere in between for a long time. So if you were starting today, don't do it with Prismatic. Don't do it with Surging Sparks. Don't Stellar, Shroud. Like, some of those are around $5, $6 a pack. I just don't like it. I think most of those, not all of them, but Pokemon will do the thing it does. Pokemon will not reprint one or more than one of them, I believe. But I think out of like the last 10 sets, maybe not the booster boxes, maybe not the ETBs, but I think the loose pack price on the last 10 sets will generally be cheaper in a year than it is today. I could be wrong, but history is on my side. History is on the side, though, to be fair, every box has been available for sub MSRP. All of these ones already have been. So maybe that time, like, being honest, like it could be over. Like, you might never see Scarlet Violet Base. That's coming out about 2 years old now. You might never see that under MSRP again. Scarlet Violet Base, I'm more torn on. Obsidian Flames, I'm more torn on. Paldea Evolved, because they're like nearing 2 years old. Stellar, Surging especially, like that one. I can't guarantee it, but I am as confident as I can be. That one was available though, 100, 110, 120 going into release. But I'm quite confident Surging will get significantly cheaper in the next 2 years in its normal print window. So those are my thoughts. I would target something instead like Battle Styles, Chilling Reign. I mean, Evolving Skies is very expensive, but I don't think it's going to come down anytime soon because it's so old. I would target like Sword and Shield era sets for the same prices as some of these Scarlet Violet sets. Mostly the last two, but yeah, that's where my head is on that. Do you think it's morally wrong to try manipulating the market by pumping alt arts? I think it is morally wrong to lie, cheat, or steal. So if you are pumping them in a way that requires you to lie, cheat, or steal, then yes. If you are pumping them by, hey, my name's Dan, and I'm a collector, and I genuinely like, I don't have any alt arts in front of me to show you, but like, so pumping is such a weird word that people use in so many different ways. Like if PokeRev makes a video and he just says like, hey, I'm a human being And I enjoy this picture of this fictional, like if PokeRev makes a video about a card, like I know this isn't an alt art, but just for example, because it's in front of me. If PokeRev makes a video about like a semi-obscure promo, they might pump, and people would accuse him of pumping them. If he's just genuinely, I have a Pokemon channel, I want to show you a cool Pokemon thing, or Deep Pocket Monster or whoever, I don't think they're maliciously pumping the market. I think they're just like interacting with the hobby, with the space, through the means that they created to interact with the space. So you can buy and talk about cards, and the price can go up with it being moral. It all depends on what you're doing in the background, if anything, and what you're disclosing, what you're not disclosing. If anyone, myself included, any content creator included, if you buy 1,000 of these and then you make a video saying, look how cool this is, I think this can only go up over time, blah, 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 things like that. And then you subsequently sell all your things. That is like the definition of a rug pull. That is the definition of like pump and dump. That is wrong. Like in stocks, in regulated markets, that's illegal. Somehow crypto, somehow that stuff's just not regulated the same way. But yeah, it all comes down to intent. It all comes down to what you disclose, what you do along the way. Nuance, gray area, not binary. We got Kevin Clear pumping alt arts, saying they're dope. They deserve to be pumped. T-Chev is also watching on a TV. Question your thoughts on the enhanced journey box. Sorry if you already answered. That's with the promo inside. I like box toppers. Box toppers are cool. We had them in e-reader era. You had box toppers in Legendary Collection, Aquapolis Skyridge. You had box toppers in some, not all, some of the EX era sets. I thought they were interesting. I don't have any drastic like takes other than that. I think they're neat. That's neat. Incredible watching my Star Wars parody on a tiny corner of his monitor. That one, see, some videos, I don't know much about Star Wars, but that one intrigued me enough that I like, Mason, you got pulled off of the bottom of the vertical screen. You got pulled over to the side where I put the, you got pulled over to the side where I put the Pokemon Classics videos, where I put the higher production value, edited, things to look at. So props to you on that one. That was a well put together video, even though I did not understand the references. I liked it. And I commented as much too. I did get the annual hair and beard trim done. Hey Ketchum, what's the best way to make a profit in this hobby that I can grind for a profit? Buying and holding sealed is great, but I'm looking for a way to grind the money out. Tons of ways. Buying raw, grading, buying bulk, sifting for hits, sifting for like hits being like playable cards, being cards. You can buy bulk for like 1 or 2 cents a piece. Like millions of bulk. We got a guy, Mason, CNA Games right here. He's got a bulk mountain at his store. If you tell him you're coming with a U-Haul, I don't want to like speak for him, but there's probably some number, and it would be on the order of cents per 1,000 cards. And people do that. Like there are people making a hefty 5-figure, if not like 6-figure wage, being a full-time, buying bulk, making lots to sell on Amazon, making lots to sell on eBay, selling the hit cards to a TCG player. And so you can do local vending. You can do all kinds of things. Tons of ways. Try a little bit of everything. See what you enjoy, live streaming, and see what works and go from there. That's I'm still like experimenting. I'm still trying new things, seeing what I enjoy. My dad knows the history of Metazoo. I mean, I speak with my dad quite a bit. I was a partner with Metazoo. My parents were aware of Metazoo and my partnership, and they've seen boxes, they've seen cards. My kids are excited it's coming back, and we opened a box of Kuromi on Friday, I believe, for the first time. What are your thoughts of people pricing near mint cards at PSA 9 pricing? PSA 8 to 9 pricing? Are people pricing near mint cards at PSA 8 to 9 pricing, or are PSA 8 to 9s going for near mint pricing? Which one's happening for? It's all arbitrary, is what I'm trying to get at. I think people are fine to price cards at whatever they so choose to. If people want to price a card at 2 times near mint price for an LP, don't buy it. Like that's all I can say is don't. If you don't like the price, don't buy it. and no one has to sell to you, and you don't have to buy from anyone. So it's great to have the option if you want it, and if you don't have to enact that option. Grimer says, I'll invest in the company delivering the pals. Who wins in the Battle of the Flippers? Retro and Kai tag team GX, or Steven and West in Pieces tag team GX? I mean, I've met Retro and Kai in person, so I'm biased and I have to go with that answer. So I'm putting my money behind Retro and Kai tag team GX. I don't plan on diluting what PK and Panga are doing in Pokemon with any Metazoo. I plan to keep them clean with just Pokemon, and I'm gonna bring on a third streamer for Metazoo if and when it happens. Yeah, I always say talk versus walk, and good, like, I like people who are transparent. I give the transparency I give because I put out into the world what I want to receive back. Like from my content creators that I consume, I like the ones that are more transparent. I don't want to hear what people like. YouTube is filled with. I've deemed them cosplay investors. YouTube is filled to the brim. The buckets, the YouTube buckets of cosplay investors who will give you buy this, buy that. That's going up. That's going up, and they don't have any skin in the game. I don't care to hear from people who have no skin in the game. I want to hear from your Rudies. I want to hear from your Anon. I think Anon is the one that talked about reprints. Maybe I don't know them quite as well. Oh, well, I don't know them hardly at all. Nostalgianomics being Alex. Alex shows you and tells you what he's doing. Rudy shows you and tells you what he's doing. I like people who have their money where their mouth is, and I like people who just are open, honest, transparent about the risks and what they think and what they feel. And yeah, that's why I do what I do. I try to put out there what I like to consume too. So when you have upcoming Magic, One Piece, etc. sets that are hyped, do not try to get any allocation for it. So I do. Magic, I cannot. Magic is brick and mortar exclusive. One Piece, I actually get every set since OPO3, I believe. I didn't get in on the first sets with One Piece, but I think every set since OPO3 I've been getting from Distro, and I've just been buying it. Sometimes I've like stashed it on a pallet somewhere and then I've forgotten about it, lost it for a while, and then the price went up like crazy, and then I sold it. Some of them, I think it went down some. But overall, I'm just gonna keep buying One Piece and selling it into the market until it punishes me. And the amount of free money I'm riding on right now from the One Piece interactions I've made, it's crazy. So yeah, I might do it with Magic if I had the opportunity to, but I don't have the opportunity to because it's brick and mortar exclusive. So yeah, like James ZNG Emporium just recently made a video where he's dropping friends and family payouts. He's adding a couple day delay to payouts because of the issues that he's gone through. He's James just had his bank, and I'm sure you watched it, Retro. You probably had that come up in your feed and watched it immediately like I did. But it's annoying, it's frustrating. It is what it is, and you're doing way more international than I do. I have consigners all over the world. I pay out in all different kinds of currencies. I do that through Wise, but it's gotten more expensive and it's gotten slower lately. It sucks. I don't keep money in Wise because Wise is not a bank. Wise is not FDIC insured. So I don't like holding money in there, but I use it as a pass through. I fund it from my bank, and it takes people like a week sometimes to get their money. But if you want to be paid in USD, I will wire you. I will ACH you. You will have it same day, next day, whatever. But if you're international, I will pay you in CAD. I will pay you in yen. I will pay you in AUD. I will pay whatever you want, GBP. But it's a little bit more expensive, and it's a fair bit slower at times because Wise just kind of sucks. But yeah, definitely not 1/30th of all the Metazoo. But I'll be interested. I'll be interested to see at some point. Maybe never. I was gonna say at some point, the eBay listings will probably run out, but that's a presumption. That's not factual. Like that's not guaranteed to happen. Maybe they never run out. Maybe all the consumers that wanted them have bought them now, and over the next 2 years they'll only sell 1,000 more boxes, and they might have 30,000 more boxes. I genuinely have no idea. What's the new Metazoo print run look like? Is there going to be tons of this new set or short printed? I have no idea whatsoever. I mentioned in my video that I dropped on Metazoo Saturday that though I own a minority passive investment share in the company that bought Metazoo from bankruptcy, I have no insight into print run. I have no insight into any game design, any insider information of any kind. I only get information through the same channels that everyone else does, through the Discord, through any appearances of Metazoo people on YouTube podcasts or whatever. So yeah. Evo Skies, a $1,300 box, dropped down to $1,100. Oh, $110 a box, a couple months after the last bubble. Agreed. Do not buy new sets over MSRP. Will always get below eventually. Patient. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. So even Evolving Skies, a box that's currently over $1,000, that one had several months time where you could have bought it for sub 160, sub 140 at the time was MSRP. But and there might be a set someday that proves me wrong. There might be a set that, hey, Dan says historically no set has not been available under double negative. No set has not been available under MSRP. Someday there might be an exception to prove the rule. Maybe Prismatic Evolutions is that set. If you need it that bad, if you think you need it that bad, go buy it. There's risk, but like there's also risk that if you don't buy it, it might go up. So if you think you need to experience it, consider all factors and then buy it or don't buy it. I would lean towards, though, me personally, if I were that consumer, I would skip it at the current price. And if I never got to open any of it, it would be what it is. It's no one needs this stuff. Looking forward to sell back my Dan promo once it hits 1K. Do you see spending in this hobby going down with all the political changes happening? If we go into a recession, if we go into a depression, I think spending will go down to some extent. Yes. I can never know. I've heard all these different things said about how Pokemon collectibles, luxury goods sometimes do well in certain recessions. Like, I don't know. Nobody knows. A lot of people will talk very overconfidently about what's going to happen. Again, no skin in the game, no idea, no experience, no history in the industry, in the hobby, in the market. And it's just wild. It's wild how overconfident people will be. But yeah, I'm open, honest, transparent about my positions. I'm open, honest, transparent about my feelings, my thoughts, and I tell you what I'm buying and why. But I do not advise you to buy anything. I do not advise you to sell anything. I just tell you what I'm doing and why. We talked about PC ETBs earlier. I have none. Well, I might have a couple kicking around that I bought at 80% of market to sell. But I have no substantial position. Ask me anything. Ask me how many of anything I have, and I will tell you to the best of my knowledge. Usually it won't be I have exactly this many, but sometimes I can. Sometimes I know. But yeah. Yeah, Brad, that is not the case. And Brad, we've had a conversation before. That amount of stuff is going to be going on people are going to be speculating dumb things. But to have people who I'm close with speculating dumb things openly in a live stream chat, please no, like that's actually can't be happening. Nothing is happening. And when people who I know speculate it and put things in chat, that's just not a good look whatsoever. Appreciate you, Token Fun, for becoming a supporter, becoming a member, whatever YouTube calls it. I said I like DBZ on a live once, and Dan called the cops on me. I don't know what that's in reference to, but 14 minutes ago, that is what Retro commented. With great power comes great responsibility. Pokemon Company is leaving too much power on the table. The gameplay collectability is only strong when it feels level for everyone. Right now, it feels tilted bad. Yeah, but Pokemon, I don't think people Mason, Brad's been shut down before, but apparently it wasn't enough, and I gotta come back and I gotta tell him he's being too naughty. But let's see. My kids are genuinely excited it's coming back. They were excited to open the Chromie box too. But Pokemon has a tougher job than people give them credit for. I've heard scary things. I've heard you can print any amount of prismatic. It's such a good set. It has god packs. You could print literally any amount of it, and it will never come under MSRP ever again. And people might say that, oh, Dan's just Dan's strawmanning. No one's saying that. I'm not gonna call out people by name because I don't know their names, because there are a dime a dozen YouTube channels. These cosplay investors, these YouTube channels, I promise you I've heard it. I've watched 5 and 10,000 subscriber channels with 5, 10, 50,000 view videos where they say sealed doesn't go down, no one would sell for a loss, Prismatic's never going to be available under MSRP guaranteed. It might not be. I agree it might not be. It would be the first set ever to not be available under MSRP. But everything is subject to supply and demand. Demand could turn on a dime. As Retro said earlier, demand could turn on a dime, and it could all just go into Neopets. It could all go into whatever. Some amount of prismatic ETBs launching tomorrow. If my distributor called me up, and we got CNA Games in here, we got multiple people in here with distro, and all of us, if they offered us 10 cases of ETBs, we would all take them. If they offered us 100 ETB cases, 1,000 ETBs, that's 30 grand. I would take that. I know my cash flow to the second right now. I would take 30 grand worth. Would I take 200 cases? Would I take 300 cases? And it's getting silly at some point. Oh, the whole printing capacity in the entire world couldn't print that many. I get what you're saying. I understand that they likely don't have enough to print all that right now while they're printing this, while they're printing that. But at some point there would be a number where I couldn't take it all. And at some point there would be a number where people would be like, oh man, that's more than I expected. Let me be a little hesitant with this. And there's a number of prismatic they could print that would bring it under MSRP tomorrow, next week. They're probably not going to print that. I agree. I'm on your side. People get so irrationally mad when you say that especially what I'm saying is like today, tomorrow, next week, that could happen. It's not going to today, tomorrow, next week, but 6 to 24 months, I am quite confident prismatic will be sub MSRP in the next 6 to 24 months. I'm not going to guarantee it. I believe surging will be too. They're the two lowest hanging fruit because their prices are so high. They're so recent. How do I reach these kids? I had this conversation. When did Vivid Voltage come out? I didn't have this conversation about Vivid Voltage. Not on YouTube, at least. I had this conversation about Vivid Voltage in the hobby, in E4, wherever. Vivid Voltage release date. November 2020. So I started my YouTube channel like 5 months after Vivid Voltage came out. So I might have. Back in 2021, I probably had a video saying like, hey, Vivid Voltage, I would not be buying it. And I ended up being right there. Hindsight's easy. But I was saying it while it was happening too. And there were some channels back then, I promise, talking about buying Vivid Voltage and like 180, 200, and it's going to go up, and it's going to be a $500 box by this. It's going to be a $1,000 box by that. And it still might be. Vivid Voltage someday will be a $1,000 box. 20 years from now? I don't know. 2 years from now, 20 years from now? I have no clue. I have, well, Dan, what do you have? What do you hold? I have 3 or 4 cases of Vivid Voltage, I think. 2 to 4. 2 to 4. 2 to 4 with like 99% confidence. If I think I have 3. I think I have 3. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. But I have 3. I'm not falling over myself to sell Vivid Voltage right now, but I am falling over myself to sell Surging. The same way I was falling over myself to sell Vivid at 200, I'm falling over myself. Not falling over. My finances have changed. My cash flow's changed. On and on. But I'm selling Surging quite quickly, and I'm rebuying it to sell on the live streams. I need to have it constantly in stock to sell on the live streams, but I'm not holding much beyond that. So, but yeah, if Pokemon prints too much and they drop it all at once, and we get a bunch of layoffs and we get a slight recession, and if a lot of things fall into place, Prismatic could be sub MSRP for a couple years. Will it be? Probably not. But yeah, Could go up, could go down, as always. What percent do you think is being held by distros? I think that's where it starts. I don't know. I've heard some people say distros don't hold anything. I've heard some people say distros holding half of what they get from Pokemon. I think they hold a little bit, 10-20% maybe, if I had to guess. Some people would say none though. I don't think it's none because I have distro, and I have some distros that like a month after a set comes out, oh hey, we got a little bit for you at 85% of market, 90% of market. So yeah, I don't know. That's my speculation though. Entirely speculation. My PSA returns have been getting 30% gem rates. Thoughts on cracking all my 9s and sending them to CGC. The cards are graded clean. So many people are talking about PSA grading harsher lately. I look at Pokemetrics, and they're still grading in the past week, in the past month. They're grading about 47% PSA 10s, as they historically have. This month, late this month, I believe on March 30th in Patreon, I will be doing a deep dive investigating what is going on with PSA, if anything. I will look at gem rate, I will look at Pokemetrics, I will look at a lot of information to see if they're actually grading harder. I don't think they are. Ryan Hogue, Nat Turner, they're saying we updated our standards to reflect what we've been doing for years. They said they're not grading any differently. But everyone thinks, ooh, I'm a victim of big bad PSA, give me 9s. I haven't seen it in my own submissions, but that said, I am submitting less than I historically have. Do you have any significant One Piece holdings for when the manga series ends and likely booms the TCG? No. I take my allocation of One Piece and I sell it in the first day to 6 months, depending on how long I lose it for and how busy I am. And I cut the beard off yesterday morning. Recession definitely could slow the market. Will it? I don't know. My live chat thing is just messing up. I don't know what it's doing to me. But yeah, a recession definitely could have some effect. Could we theoretically go through a recession and Pokemon comes out unscathed? I guess. Yeah, could happen. I just get, again, be greedy when others are fearful. Be fearful when others are greedy. All I see right now is greed. All I see right now is, and it's not everyone. Not everyone. What percentage of people is it? Is it the vocal minority? I don't know. But I just, I like to point it out when I hear it. I wasn't hearing it at all 6 months or a year ago. People are usually, like, it's just crazy. When boxes are 90 and 80, people are like, it's all going to 0. And when boxes are 200-300, they're like, it's going to the moon. People buy high and people sell low. It's mind-blowing. But it's a tale as old as time. Wild. It is, what happens though? How many 7-Eleven Lapras promos do you have? I don't think any. How much Shining Fates do I have? Not much. Loose packs though. Let me see. I will tell you approximately how many Shining Fates loose packs I have. ETBs, collection boxes, minimal, if any. Maybe none. But Shining Fates packs. I've sold 365 this year so far on live streams. I only have like 1,500. I have like 1,500 packs of Shining Fates. So I have about a year's worth at current rates. I have about a year's worth of Shining Fates at current rates, and then I'll be entirely out. Why are Budweiser Steins so cheap? I see them for sale for $5 to $10. Time to invest heavy. Supply and demand. There were times where some Budweiser Steins, some today still probably are. There are probably Budweiser Steins, and I used to do the Schultz and Dooley Steins. I still collect them a little bit. But there are probably some Budweiser Steins that are hundreds, if not low thousands. But those are the exception. Actually, that is dark. I looked up the highest sold Budweiser Stein listing on eBay. Let me just show it. It's a lot of 44 for like 800 something shipped. Imagine shipping 44 Steins. I've sold and shipped Steins on eBay I was expecting to see some like random collectible anniversary, whatever it may be. I expected to see like one Stein for like hundreds or like $1,000. This is what I was expecting to see. This is like an unpainted. I actually have a Budman Stein. This is like an unpainted one. I don't know if it's a prototype or something, but I expected to see some expensive ones. There's not much out there. 1982 Snowy Woodland Stein. Is that real? Is that shill bid? I have no idea. But pretty dark. Pretty dark out here. Supply and demand, though. Supply and demand. Time can make things more scarce. Time can make things go up. Or time can make things irrelevant. Relevance is something that is not something you want to lose as a collectible speculative asset. Justin Alexander says 100% Prismatic will never be readily available. I mean, it's just words. It's just words said by. I would like to know, not to pick on you, but I'm just really curious. Justin Alexander, how long have you been in the hobby? I would speculate not extremely long. I've been in it for 11 years. Every set has been readily available at some point. The closest ones were like Champion's Path, Hidden Fates. There are multiple products, though, that came up even in their life cycle where you had at least some amount of time to get them at MSRP. It wasn't long, being fair, and maybe Prismatic. Prismatic might be the first set. It would be the first set that from release into eternity, if it doesn't come down below MSRP, it would be the first one ever. Because I found, we talked about it a few weeks ago on a live stream. We talked about Hatterene pin collections or whatever for Champion's Path. And Hidden Fates had a couple different products at one point that were available for some amount of time. Not long, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I would bet. I'll take that bet on Prismatic end of year. Yeah, I'm saying 6 to 24 months. 6 to 24 months. And then some of it comes up like what do you define as, obviously MSRP is well defined, but what do you count as available? Like how long does it have to be in stock on a website? If it's in stock for a day at one store, is that long enough? Or is certain store too obscure? We'd have to define it, but I wouldn't want to take it end of year. I think there's a solid chance it could be, but I would want to take it over the full. I want the full 2-year historic print run window. But we'll see. Could I get them to print, please? Thanks. Unfortunately, Pokemon is not listed. Wonder what's going to happen to Pokemon in Canada with the tariffs, MSRP going up by 25%. Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, Prismatic was under 100. Prismatic was under 100 short time. ETBs were like 90 on Prismatic Elite. We're 90 on TCG Player. They're 140 now. Yeah, they're going up like crazy again, aren't they? But they were, maybe they weren't 90. 100, 95, 100, somewhere in there. 961 items were sold from January 30th to February 1st between $87.99 and $150, says TCG Player. So I don't know exactly what they bottomed at. But, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The ETBs might never go under 100 again. So two things could be true at the same time. Prismatic ETBs might never go under 100 again, and Prismatic might be available at MSRP. It might be booster bundle. It might be poster collections, pin, blister, whatever. It could be like any product. A product. I think a product in the next 0 to 24 months will be sub MSRP, widely available for Prismatic. I'm open to being wrong, but it would be the first time that a set hasn't been. But we'll see. A lot of confidence by people who've not been around, and so Justin says 8 years. Okay, so surprise. I'm taking that back. I would have expected you to say 6 months or less. So I'm surprised by you saying 8 years, and I'm surprised by you saying you have over 300 grand in the hobby. If those are true, which I have no reason to believe they're not, but people can lie, people can fib on the internet. I definitely, and some people might not like hearing this. I definitely value the opinion of someone walking the walk more. Oh, well, they don't like, yeah, it holds more weight when you're actually doing something with it, right? When you're actually putting your money where your mouth is. So Mason says, hello, in the hobby for 10 years. Prismatic will never be readily available. Prismatic might be the first one. I'll give you that there's a chance. But the fact that people can't even give, like, there's no chance, guaranteed, I don't agree with that level of confidence. And the thing is, like, most of the people with that level of confidence, I promise you, that, and Mason, to be fair, I'm going to call you out a little bit, Mason, Mr. CNA Games. I just rewatched a video that was 3 years old. And in that video, Mr. Mason said that booster boxes will never be available for sub $100 again. And I think you were fairly confident in it. And putting myself in that same, like, bad, you were wrong, I was on your side. When you made that video, I generally agreed with the sentiment. I thought MSRP going up, new normal. Boxes will not be under 100 again. When you made that video, I generally agreed. I wouldn't have guaranteed it. I never would. But I generally agreed. And you were very wrong. Within months, I actually saw some people poking at you in the comments. Because within 2 months, boxes were available sub 100. It was funny how quickly it happened. You said 80. Even if you said 80, there were $79.99 shipped boxes. Maybe you said 90? Whatever it was, I think it ended up like every Scarlet and Violet set up till Surging, I believe, was available for under 90 on eBay at one point or another. So I think it's inevitable that boxes will go sub 100 again. I think it's inevitable that every set will eventually be available for MSRP or less. Prismatic, I think, is too good of a set for them to not get it out there. Like, and I personally am in the camp. I think this is like a fairly contested thing. What set's better, Prismatic or 151? I say 151. Some people say Prismatic. If Prismatic's that good of a set, Pokemon is going to print a ton of it. Maybe it'll only be Costco. Like 151 was widely available. Not everywhere, but mostly Costco. Other places too, but not as widely available as Costco. And Costco's like, it's not ubiquitous. It's not everywhere. Not as ubiquitous as like a Walmart or whatever. But I would still call 151 for as long as it was UPCs being available at Costco. I would call that very widely available. Frisky Squid likes 151 better than Prismatic. I think a lot of people though like Prismatic better, and I think Pokemon is going to print that for a couple years very heavily, and I think in 6 to 24 months. And I'm open to being wrong. Prismatic might never be available, and as a consumer, I would just say, like, that set's too expensive for me. That's fine to say. As an investor, I took my allocation, I set some back, I buy it at 80%, I sell it at 115%, I make margin on it. I'm not buying any as an investment at 100 plus. There's better opportunity cost, risk-adjusted investments for me out there. So yeah, that's all. I beat that dead horse enough. I think I covered all that. And that's like, Destined Rivals is a really good set from everything we can see. Like, what happens if Pokemon just like prints every set that comes out? They have to print every new set, obviously. Say they don't reprint anything else. Say they literally never touch Stellar, never touch Twilight, never touch any of the other ones again. Whatever's been printed to today, they don't touch it again. Over the next 18 months, the only two things they print are the next set and Prismatic Evolutions. The next set and Prismatic Evolution. Say, Mason, say you get like Pokemon. I promise you, Pokemon is going to print 10 to 15 billion cards in the next year. If 5 billion of them are Prismatic Evolutions, it could go. Is that going to happen? Probably not. But could it? And who cares? Like, who cares? Is what it comes down to. I have what I have. You guys have what you have. I'm not going to convince anyone anything. Rocket emojis only. Who cares? Who cares? I'm gonna go on. Retro. You're not gonna like this when I say it. but I watched that Neo video before you sent it to me. So if I ever use that in a video or in a Patreon thing, don't say that you told me about it, because I'm subscribed to Neo and I don't watch all his videos, but I watch a lot of them. And I saw that chart and I had context of the video before you sent me that. I'm not gaslighting you. I'm just stating a fact. With the success of UPC, what percent of PE UPCs to PE ETBs? 10%, 30%, 100%. I don't know what you're saying. With the success of UPC, what percent of prismatic evolutions UPCs to PE? I have no idea what you're saying. I'm getting lost. Prismatic evolution UPCs to prismatic evolution ETBs. Like what percent print run? What percent price will the UPC relative to the ETB? I have no idea. What kind of reprint quality should we expect to see on sets that had a bad print run, such as Obsidian Flames? I have no idea. Sometimes print runs of reprints are higher quality. Sometimes they are lower quality. Sometimes they are the same quality. Might go up, might go down. You're welcome. When looking at Pokemetrics vid re PSA 10 rates, please look at comparing English only. I feel the insane terrestrial volume will be preserving the 40-ish% rate. In my experience, English has become a bloodbath. Part of the reason, so English also became a bloodbath back in the 2021 boom. When prices go up substantially, new people enter the hobby. When GameStop starts grading cards for you, who do you think grades cards with GameStop? People that have never graded before. When people that have never graded before start grading, I'm not saying it's causing all of the lower 10 rate. I'm saying it's a contributing factor that could lower the 10 rate. When more normies start grading for the first time, when prices go up on cards, and when this card is $50, $100, I'm less likely to grade it. When it's $300, I don't give a crap if I grade a 9. I'm gonna grade them all, not all, but I'm gonna grade more of them. I graded more of this card than I would have. But when I first bought this, I expected to grade maybe 200 of these. With the market doing what it did, I graded over 300 of them. I intentionally, to some extent, got a lower PSA 9 rate than I would have otherwise because the card went up. And that is some factor of it. I'm not saying that's all of it, but that is some factor of it. Absolutely. Quiet Mason, Crown Zenith will never get to $7. I knew it was gonna double in 2 months all along. That's why I have 200 packs of it. Congratulations. Distros won't let Prismatic go below MSRP. If they get enough of it, they will. 24 months. Give me 24 months and I'll make the bet. Like, yeah, the criteria would be MSRP. Widely available is fairly vague, but let's see. If it instantly sells out, has limits of 1 or 2 that isn't readily available, meaning you can't. We would need to define it. Yes. 151 UPCs were readily available at Costco. You could buy them by the pallet. That would meet the definition. Will it be Costco specifically with Prismatic? I don't know. I'm speculating. I think it's a better than 50-50 chance that Prismatic goes sub MSRP in the next 2 years. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not like betting I'm not betting a crazy amount on this. I have a lot of Prismatic inventory. Let me tell you how much I have approximately. We've sold 5,600 Prismatic packs this year. I have 10,000 packs of Prismatic, which is only like 4 months worth of Prismatic. The rate's going down. We broke more at release than we're breaking right now. But I have, again, Hawk versus Walk, Retro. Like people that are this confident, how much Prismatic do you have? If you're like people that are this confident, I'm telling you, I showed you mine. Now you show me yours. I have I mean at what is Prismatic right now? $12 a pack. I have, oh god, I have $120,000 of Prismatic Evolution. Oh no, hold on. Sorry. I'm like, this can't be right. I'm like, as I was saying it, I'm like, there's no way this can be right. That's how much I've shipped. So I've shipped 8,000 packs. So I have 2, 3, 4, I have 5,000. I have half that. I'm like, how can I have 10,000 packs of Prismatic? Pump the brakes, slow down. I have I have only 5,000 packs of prismatic. I have like 60 grand worth. That's a little bit more than I would like to have, given what I think the trajectory of the pack will do. But I also like, so again, talk versus walk. What I'm saying versus what I'm doing. How much is that? Who cares? Who cares ultimately? Evolving Skies at MSRP was readily available in random tins until fall last year. Prismatic is a special set, so it doesn't have that opportunity. Have they never? Yeah, they probably never put in a specialty set in a mixed. Have they never put a specialty set? Yeah, specialty sets, aside from Celebrations, was mixed with other sets. But like, has any other specialty set been mixed with like standard sets? I think Celebrations was the only one, wasn't it? I'm not sure. It would be very wild if they didn't print Prismatic heavily. They printed 151 heavily, and look what it's doing now. Like 151 was available for quite a while. They printed the crap out of it. They got it available for everyone who was around. A lot of the people who were crying. So 151 was expensive and hard to get out of the gate, and then it became available. A lot of people cried about 151 not being available enough, and then it became available enough, and most people that were crying that it wasn't were gone by the time it was, and now they're probably back and crying again about it, and they're probably crying about Prismatic. That's just the way that it goes. And yeah, Shining Fates, Vivid Voltage, like all these sets eventually got there. 151 eventually got there. I think it will get there, but it's like I'm not holding it so dearly that like I'm not gonna like base my whole life around that. I'm not betting my whole business on that either. I have an idea on what I think it's gonna do. I interact with my inventory levels. I would keep them higher if I thought it would only go up. I would keep them lower if I knew it had to go sub MSRP. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I know it's going to go MSRP. But anyways, continue on. Homies taking shots at Dan from the chat and then crying if Dan says anything back. Like that embodies so much of my live streams. It's like homies in the chat taking shots, and then Dan says anything. Oh, Dan hurt me. Dan's mean. Dan's gaslighting me. I would happily be wrong because I would be able to double or triple my position, but the amount of investors waiting specifically for that set is unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'll be here making videos talking about what I'm doing. If in 2 years, remind me in 2 years, if Prismatic Evolutions doesn't go sub MSRP in the next 2 years, I will absolutely say, like, I thought it was going to. I clearly thought it was going to. I wish I had bought a little bit more, but yeah, like, it is what it is. I will, if I'm wrong on something, in the way, like, I'm a weatherman. I'm giving percentages. I'm not saying this is going to happen. This isn't going to happen. In some ways, I can't be wrong because I'm just putting percentages on it. If I 10 times in a row, if I say something that has a 99% chance of happening and then it doesn't happen 10 times in a row, that's as close to functionally wrong as you can get, because statistically what that would. But if I say, like, I think there's an 80% chance Prismatic gets the sub MSRP in the next 2 years. If I say 5 things have an 80% chance and 4 of them happen and 1 of them doesn't, I did a pretty good job at forecasting. So that's the number that I'm going to say. An 80% chance it gets there. If it doesn't, it is what it is. If it does, yeah, that's the percentage I'm putting on it. Dan mocking the homies is peak live stream content. I'm just pointing out that, like, I've been wrong. I was wrong on that same thing. He's saying that he wasn't wrong. I'll have to go back and rewatch it. But there's been people that have been confident about things that ended up being wrong. Is all I was trying to demonstrate there. I've been wrong about a lot of things. When I'm wrong about things, I point them out. I mean, I made a claim. I made a claim that Metazoo was going to outlive Lorcana. Metazoo did not outlive Lorcana. I was wrong. Maybe the new iteration of it will, but we'll see where it goes. Let's. I'm falling further behind chat than I was 30 minutes ago. I need to catch up. Thoughts on whether current vintage prices will weather the present modern boom and eventual retrace? Are you talking sealed? Are you talking slabs? I don't know what you're talking here. Slabs and sealed are both going up pretty well lately, depending on what you're looking at. WotC boxes that I'm looking at, going up. Some WotC cards that I've looked at, that I've consigned, going up. Not all of it, though. Not universal. Navi Station is saying Mason said $100. Retro, you gotta, like, retro breathe. You get way too rowdy sometimes. Breathe. That was not me dunking on Mason. That was me saying something. It's not me like saying he's wrong on everything. He was wrong on this. And again, weatherman, you're not wrong if you preach caution and then prices on some things continue to go up. Prices on some things go up, prices on some things go down. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I'm here for the nuance. If you're gonna give some takes, we can too. Absolutely. I'm not and Mason, let me find his comment again. He said we'll never be. He didn't guarantee it, but he said we'll never. Never is a pretty strong word. And never is a pretty strong word. Not quite as strong as the G word. Mason, do you guarantee I need to get elaboration here. Mason, do you guarantee Prismatic will never be readily available? Let me know if you guarantee it. Never is pretty strong, but if you guarantee it will never, that's doubling down on how wrong it is. Mason's so happy to be wrong about that. I mean, I would be. That's the thing. Like, I'll be happy to be right about it or wrong about it. I'm indifferent. I'm generally. You would be so happy, but are you guaranteeing it though? Are you guaranteeing that it never will be? I am indifferent. I am indifferent to Crown Zenith doubling by next January. I'm indifferent to Prismatic. I'm gonna make my margin either way. In one way, I get to buy more and have a larger position. In another way, I'll have a smaller position, but that made more money that I'll be making margin on still. Like, the biggest thing that I lose on, I lose on Pokemon dying. I lose on Pokemon market contracting significantly. I don't want those things to happen. I don't think those things are going to happen. If I thought those things were going to happen, I would have a significantly smaller position. All the things that I say, preaching like risk is there, things could happen. I'm not calling for that to happen. I'm not rooting for that to happen. I don't want the market to contract. I am short on certain things in Pokemon. Short plastic, long cardboard. I am bullish on cardboard. Can you tell us your yearly spend with distro? If not, can we know the percentage of your total spend it makes up? I don't remember off the top of my head, but I made a video at the start of 2022. I made a video at the start of 2023. I made a video at the start of 2024. I guess, and 2025. I forget which year it is. I have made a video every year. Sometimes I detailed my sales only. Some years I detailed my purchases only. I never give you both. I never give you the full picture. But mid six figures, somewhere in there. It's not a million. It's a lot over 100,000. Mid six figures somewhere. And I spent, so what did I sold last year. I sold $3 million worth of cards. Only mid six figures of that, well, low six figures of that would have been modern Pokemon, because like I'm sitting on speculating in most of what I buy. But my total spend in 2025 might be a few hundred grand from distro, and then multiple millions not from distro. So it's a low percentage because that's how low my allocations are. What they'll print in proportion, ETBs to UPCs, no idea. No idea whatsoever. Justin has 2,000 packs of Prismatic. His Evolution's a standard set. Not sure, but it was in every damn thing. Evolutions was XY12. It was a standard set. It wasn't too long ago you had Paradox booster box cases on your eBay for 600. When do you think you will have $600 cases for sale again? I will never have $600 cases again for sale on my eBay. Never. I just used a very strong word. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I'm not because they won't be, that, but further context on what that was. I had an eBay subsidy where they were paying me more money than I was actually netting more than 600 minus 12%. I was netting higher than that because I did an eBay daily deal. I was also going for like an eBay contracted rate that didn't end up panning out. So I've drastically reduced what I'm selling through eBay. Fanatics Live started. Most of that stuff goes out through the live, or it goes out other ways. So yeah, I don't anticipate having $100 main set booster boxes on my eBay again ever or anytime soon. But Dan got a haircut. Now he acting different. I don't know if Brad got a haircut or not, but he's always acting the same. Helga Pataki out here. I've given away, so I wouldn't call this widely available, but I've given away 10 prismatic ETBs for free on Fanatics Live. I've sold 50 for MSRP on the base set box break in January, on the jungle box break in February. I might do some more. I don't know. I don't know if I will do any more, but a little bit of self promo. I'm going to be doing a fossil booster box, first edition fossil booster box break with PK on site on Fanatics Live on Saturday, March 22nd. Tune in, affiliate link below if you want to sign up, subsidize your pack if you want to try to win one. 6.8k subs, 140 live viewers. Watch Dan get hit by the experts in a boom firing squad. Was it worth it, Danny boy? Oh, it's always worth it. Nice to see you in here, Squeaks. For people who thinks there's no more opportunity, just look at any modern product that took 200%. 151 UPC, PCTV. Appreciate you, Mason. You are crushing it as well. 2 stores. I will never have half the stores you have. I hope to never have half the stores you have. Oh man. Are we having fun yet, chat? Let's go, boys. Pokemon Boom, Pokemon Pocket, Pikachu, Charizard. I made a video saying modern Pokemon is not investable. I said Evolutions was in a bubble. I said when PSA caught up, slabs would be worthless. I'm wrong a lot. I'm okay with that. Dan tries so hard to sit on the fence on things he can't be proven wrong later, and it still happens. Crown Zenith for 10 each collectibles. Oh, man. Let's see. Dan losing money for the culture. Week's return. I don't know if that's ever coming. I'm actually making a video soon, Mason. I'm making a video soon. I appreciate LGSs for what they are. I think they are a necessary part of the hobby. Props to everyone who opens an LGS. I love doing the online retailer thing. I've been talking about this video idea for like 2 years on why I'll never open an LGS. I'm gonna make that sometime in March. I've pledged to, so it's happening soon. But I'm glad people do it. I'm not going to be the guy to do it. I think it's an instrumental, fundamental, required part of our hobby. And honestly, I've said this before, and it's a scary thing to even utter the words. But I've said before, I wouldn't be overly surprised if someday Pokemon went brick and mortar only. Magic is brick and mortar only. I believe Yu-Gi-Oh might be brick and mortar only. One Piece, Pokemon, online retailers. I think it would. There's pros and cons. As with everything, there's pros and cons. I think there's if we're having a debate, I think there's a very logical debate to argue the side that Pokemon should be LGS only. I hope it doesn't become the case. It would be very bad for me. the allocation that's been free money for so long, but historically is not always free money. But anyways, I think that's an interesting little thing that I'll put that like as a note in my conversation that I do my video on. The only way that I could ever see myself opening an LGS is like if that were to ever happen. If Pokemon said like, hey Dan, you want to keep your account, if you want to keep your allocation, you have to have a brick and mortar by January 1st, 2026. I might look into making something happen where someone else runs everything. And it's like, it's my LGS to just get allocation. I feed some amount of the allocation there, but I still do the other stuff I want to do with it too. That would be like the only way I could see it happening. I don't think that's coming. I don't want that to come. Is there some percent chance of that? Yes, but probably very low. But yeah, let's see. Opening an LGS equals dumb. Who PCG who just opened an LGS. My collector profile just took a steep fall. Is this the beginning of the end? I don't believe so. Despite my thumbnail, despite my title, I think we are due at some point. I mean, the amount of people out there that call for a retrace, that call for a recession, that call for, they've called 50 of the last 5 recessions. I think at some point we're due for a retracement. Those are words. What do they mean? Today, Dan, Catch 'em All Collectibles, has the most Pokemon he's ever had in raw dollar terms. So take what I say and take what I do for what they're worth, for what you're paying for them, nothing, and use that to potentially guide or completely steer you in the opposite direction with your own decisions, with your own choices that you do. So as always, like, do whatever you want to do. Here I am doing what I'm doing, telling you about what I'm doing. With that, I'm going to wrap up. I am fully caught up at the bottom of chat. It was a ride. We did not go red light. We were close a couple times, but only 2.5 hours after 3.5 hour marathon last week. I appreciate everyone watching. I will catch you all later.